in the English school. Today's session is about science and technology. We are going to do the revision for metallurgy chapter. Okay, I have taken this lecture before also, so you can see the video on the YouTube in our BMC channel. Metallurgy chapter we have done. So today we are going to do the revision, and as well as I will tell you how the question will be asked in your board exam. So let's revise first. We have done the properties of metals and non-metals. So we will see the properties of metals and non-metals. So metals are hard except sodium and potassium. Non-metals are not hard except diamond, which is hard in nature. Metals are in solid state except mercury and gallium, which are in liquid state. Metals. So non-metals do not have luster. Luster means shining property. Metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. On the other side, non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity, except graphite, which is a good conductor of electricity. Metals are malleable, means they can be changed into a thin sheet. Non-metals are non-malleable, we cannot change into thin sheet. Metals are ductile, means we can change it into a thin wire. Non-metals are non-ductile. Metals have high melting point and boiling point. Non-metals have a low melting and boiling point. Metals are sonorous, means they produce sound, and non-metals are non-sonorous. Here you can see, if you want, you can take a screenshot also for physical properties of metal and non-metals. For your kind information, if you will see the omitted portion, this will not come in your exam. But for your information, I have done the revision. So for you, in your future, you can remember the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, so somewhere it will be useful. But the question based on the physical properties of metal and non-metals will not come. Tungsten metal has highest melting point, that is 3422 degrees Celsius. Chemical properties of metals. Now which chemical properties are there for metals? Metals are reactive, they lose electrons, they are positively charged ions. So by losing electrons they get positive charge. They are called as electropositive elements. Now reaction of metals. How the reaction of metals are done with oxygen. So when metals react with oxygen, it forms metal oxide. You can see metal plus oxygen gives metal oxide. For example, magnesium plus oxygen, it gives magnesium oxide. This experiment also you have magnesium ribbon, you are burning with a blue flame in the presence of oxygen, so you get magnesium oxide. Okay. Reaction of metal with water. So metal, when it reacts with water, it gives metal hydroxide and hydrogen gases form. Here you can see sodium is reacting with water, it gives sodium hydroxide and hydrogen is produced. So any metal react with water, it forms its hydroxide. So sodium is reacting with water, it forms sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is produced. Here next one, reaction of metals with acid. So here when the metals react with acid, what is formed? You can see metal when it is reacting with acid, so salt of that metal is formed and plus hydrogen is formed. You can see in the example magnesium plus acid, that is hydrochloric acid. Magnesium ribbon, when it is put in the hydrochloric acid, it forms magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas is released. Next, aluminium plus hydrochloric acid, it forms aluminium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Next one, reaction of metals with nitric acid. So here metal copper is reacting with nitric acid, it gives copper nitrate. So you can see nitrate salt. When reaction of metals formed, you can see nitrate or various oxides of nitrogens are formed. You can see copper reacting with nitric acid, it forms copper nitrate. nitrogen dioxide and water. This is very important, which comes in your exam. The diagram will be given and they ask that in which test tube the reaction is. They ask 2 3 question or 5 marks question. This question can come for 5 marks also, 3 marks also. This diagram will be given and they will ask in which test tube you can see the reaction is happening, and this experiment also you have in your practical book. Okay, you can see the blue color, that is a copper sulfate solution. Blue color's copper sulfate solution, and iron nail is dipped in that. So when copper sulfate solution reacting with iron, so it gives ferrous sulfate and copper is displaced and it is deposited on the iron nail. So this reaction they ask this question, so one marks question based on this diagram, that which type of reaction is taking place. So you have to write down the displacement is taking place. The reaction taking place are of displacement type. So based on this diagram, they can ask questions, 3 questions or 5 questions. Okay, if 5 questions they will ask on this, so 5 marks question. So easy questions comes. So it is not like that 5 marks question is very difficult. If you know the diagram properly, if you know understand the concept, you can easily write down the answer. They ask 1 marks question. So like that they ask 5 questions for 5 marks like that. So this is very important. You can see iron nail we are using for iron, we are using iron nail here, and CuSO4, that is copper sulfate blue color solution. When it is reacting with each other, iron is more reactive, so it is displacing the copper. So ferrous sulfate, that is iron sulfate, that is ferrous sulfate, FeSO4 is formed and copper is displaced and copper is deposited on the iron nail. So that's why your gray color iron nail becomes reddish brown because of the copper deposit on the iron nail. So this is the displacement type of reaction, and they can ask you write down the reaction. So you have to write down this reaction. Iron Fe plus USO4 gives to copper, that is Cu plus FeSO4. Okay, remember this reaction, very important. Now as I told you before also, all metals are not equally reactive. Sodium is the highly reactive and vigorously reactive metal. Okay, but iron doesn't. Iron, it takes time, iron material, it takes time for corrosion, get corroded. But sodium is the metal which reacts very vigorously, very actively. See, this is also very important question that had come, I think so, in March 2020, last year. The diagram will be given for reactivity series of metals. You have to observe the diagram and you have to write down the answer. As I told you, the diagram will be given. They can ask you 3 question or 5 question for 5 marks, 3 question for 3 marks, like that. So I will show you how the question had been asked in 2020, March 2020. If you see this reactivity series, properly, if you'll observe carefully, it is easy to understand. You can see left hand side, react with water means whatever potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium, this is given. These are the metals which react with water. Next you can see react with acid. So some this metals are given which are reacting with acid, then react with oxygen. So metals names are given which are reacting very vigorously or very nicely with oxygen. So you have to see that arrow and you have to understand higher and lower, which are the more reactive and which are the less reactive. So see the question. So you will understand. Name 2 metals which react with water. Read the question carefully. You can see it had come in March 2020, last year paper. Name 2 metals which react with water. So you can see in the diagram. See the react with water. You have to write down 2 metals. Here 4 metals are given, so you can write any 2 metals: potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium. So you can write any 2. Next question, name 2 moderately reactive metals. So see, react with moderately reactive metals. So you can see in between. Up, you can see the 4 borders, 1 2 3 borders, blue color strips. So moderately means which is coming in between. So in reactivity, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead. You can see it is in the middle. So moderately reactive. You can write any two out of this: magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead. Out of this, you can write any two metal name. Next one, C question: name the most highly reactive metal and the most less reactive metal. So most highly reactive metal, you can see higher and lower arrow. You can see on the left hand side, on the up, highly reactive is potassium, and the very less reactive is, you can see in the diagram, it is gold. I hope you have understood. So like this, easy questions comes if you study properly. If you see once or twice or thrice diagram and understand the question, which type of question comes. So if you are solving paper, you will understand which type of question come in the paper. Reaction of metals with non-metals. When metals react with non-metals, electrons are transferred from metals atom to the non-metals. This we have studied. The ionic compounds are formed when metals are transferring the electron to the non-metal. So ionic bond is formed. So reaction between metals and non-metals include, for example, sodium and chlorine. You know that sodium chloride. Sodium gives electron. Chlorine takes electron. So between metals and non-metals, if there is a transfer of metals from metals to non-metals, so they are forming ionic bond. Okay. So sodium chloride is an example, best example for the ionic bond. Metals, they give electron and they get positive charge, and chlorine, like non-metals, they take electron and they get negative charge. So by that they get a bond that is called as the ionic bond. Reaction of metals with non-metal. Reaction of metals with non-metals. So same example, sodium plus chlorine. Sodium is reacting, transferring electron, giving electron to chlorine and forming ionic bond. So here this is the example of metals, reaction of metal with non-metal. Non-metals, we have studied the metals, chemicals, properties of non-metals. Same way we will study now. First we have studied for metals. Now we will see the for chemical properties of non-metals. Non-metals are less reactive. They gain or share electrons. They are negatively charged ions. They are called as electronegative elements, as they take electron and they get negative charge. So they are called as electronegative elements. Chemical properties of non-metals. Non-metals react with air to form acidic or neutral oxide. Carbon forms acidic oxide. Hydrogen forms neutral oxide. Like carbon is, it is reacting with forming acidic nature, acidic oxide, that is carbon dioxide. Carbon, it is reacting with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. Hydrogen reacting with oxygen, it is forming water. So it is neutral in nature. Reaction of non-metals with oxygen, you can see carbon plus oxygen, it gives carbon dioxide. And when again carbon dioxide reacting with water, it forms carbonic acid. Reaction of non-metals with water. So non-metals, we can take an example of sulfur. Sulfur reacting with water, it does not show any reaction. So sulfur is a non-metal. So many times, as we have studied just now, the properties of chemical properties of non-metals, they are less reactive. So hardly they react with water or oxygen. So sulfur, when it is reacting with water, it does not show any reaction. Reaction of non-metals with acid, same, no reaction. Sulfur, when it is reacting with hydrochloric acid, it does not show any reaction. So non-metals are very less reactive. Ionic bond, we have studied sodium chloride ionic bond. The electrostatic forces that bind supposedly charged ions together, they are called as the ionic bond. Like we have seen the example of sodium chloride. Properties of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds form crystalline structure because of the strong electrostatic attraction. As they have a electrostatic attraction between them, so ionic compounds form a strong bond. Ionic bonds are very strong. are solids at room temperature, have high melting and boiling point, made of metal and non-metal. Let's keep the example of sodium chloride in your mind for ionic compound. Ionic bonds are very strong, like sodium chloride when they are together, they are very strong. They are solid at room temperature. They have high melting and boiling point, made of metal and non-metal. Sodium is metal, chlorine is non-metal. So they are combining and forming the ionic bond. Does not conduct electricity in solid. Like salt does not conduct electricity in solid form, but when we add the salt in water in aqueous state, in liquid states, water when it is added to the liquid, that is water, so it start conducting electricity. So does not conduct, so ionic compound does not conduct electricity in solid, but does in the liquid and aqueous state. Now we will see the main, what do we mean by metallurgy. We are learning about the metallurgy chapter, so you should remember the definition can come for 1 marks. Define metallurgy. So small definitions can come for 1 marks question. That is for question number 1b. You can see the science and technology regarding extraction of metals from ores and their purification for the use is called metallurgy. What is an ore? Now we get metals, any metals from the metal ore. Like iron we get from iron ore, gold we get from gold ore. Okay, copper we get from copper ore. So what is an ore? The minerals from which the metal can be separated. The minerals from which the metal can be separated economically are called ores. Now we will see what do we mean by minerals. In the iron ore rock, from this the iron is separated. Minerals, what do we mean by mineral? The compound of metals that occur in nature with other impurities. Means we have metals in the nature with other impurities. So that collectively called as minerals. So the compound of metals that occur in nature with other impurities are called as minerals. What is gangue? Gangue means waste material which is there in the metals. During purification, if the waste materials are there, they are called as gangue. In basic, you can remember. So ore contain many types of impurities such as soil, sand, and rocky substances along with the metal compounds. These impurities are called gangue. So impurities which we don't want, that is called as gangue. Occurrence of metals, you know, metals, some are very highly reactive, some are less reactive. Occurrence of metals in nature. Some metals occurs freely in free state. Some occurs in combined state. For example, gold, platinum, silver, mercury. They come in the free state. It is not mixed with other metals. And some are in combined state, like sodium, calcium, potassium, aluminium, lead, copper, etc. These are found in the combined state. Gold and platinum in free state. Copper, mercury, free state. You can see here some metals are in combined state, like copper, it is in the form of oxide, so cupric oxide, copper sulfide, so it is in the combined state. Now next thing, basic principles of metallurgy. If they ask you for 1 marks question, 2 marks question, what is the basic principle of metallurgy? So basic steps you should remember. First of all, concentration of ore, extraction of metal, purification of the metal. First of all, concentration of ore, extraction of metal, and purification of that metal. Okay, so these are the three main steps during metallurgy. Metallurgy means you are purifying the metals from its ores. So that process is called as metallurgy. Okay, so these are the three steps. First, concentration of the ore, extraction of the metal, and then purification of that metal. Concentration of ore. So concentration means what? The process of separating gangue from the ore. Means we are separating the waste particle, gangue, from the ore. That is called as concentration of the ore. Methods for the concentration of the ore. In a board exam, you will get different methods name. You have to explain those methods. Okay, for example, here first method is given separation based on gravitation. Separation based on gravitation, there are two methods: wheel plate table method and hydraulic separation method. So they can ask you explain wheel plate table method. They can ask you explain hydraulic separation method. Draw neat and label diagram of hydraulic separation method and explain the process of hydraulic separation method. So like this, based on every method, they can ask you questions. So understand, read the question textbook carefully, understand the process so that you can write in your own words also in your exam. Okay, read the textbook carefully for each method. What is happening in that method, it is very easy. Powder ore are entered in the slit, and then by moving that Wilfred table, gang are separated and the concentrated ore are separated. Okay, so read, it is very easy. Read it and you can write in your own words. So they can ask you explain, draw neat and label diagram for Wilfred table method and explain, draw neat and label diagram for hydraulic separation method and explain this method. Draw neat and label diagram for magnetic separation method and explain the process. Draw neat and label diagram for float flotation method. Float flotation method and explain the process. What is happening in this? Then leaching. Explain leaching. Leaching is a chemical method for concentration of the ore. This is also one of the method for concentration of the ore, and it is based on the impurities. Solubility is based on the solubility of the ore and impurities. So what is happening in this leaching method? Ore is taken. For example, if we are taking copper ore, so if we are taking or aluminium ore, so aluminium ore is nothing but the bauxite. So if we are taking bauxite, it is made soluble in solvent, that is crushed and made soluble in some solvent. Insoluble particles, whatever impurities are getting settled down, and when we take soluble particles out, and then by chemical process the metals, the pure metals are obtained. So if you read carefully textbook, you will understand the process. You can easily write in your exam. It is not difficult. Okay. So read the textbook carefully and understand the process. So at least you can write down. The first step in the extraction of the metal, aluminium, gold, and silver from their ore is the method of leaching. So different ores we use different method. For example, gravitation. This method, this one, magnetic separation method. It is based on magnet. So iron ore, the iron metals are separated by this method, magnetic separation method. And bleaching method is used for which metals? Aluminium, gold, and silver, etc. Leaching method is used. First step is done by leaching, then further process is done for the purification of that metal. Bauxite, silver ore, you can see the bauxite. Remember, it is a aluminium ore. Aluminium is extracted from the bauxite. Leaching process of the gold extraction, you can see. So, for example, concentration of bauxite, it is given in the detail how the concentration of bauxite is done and how the aluminium is extracted from this bauxite, which is the aluminium ore. Bauxite, again I'm telling, remember bauxite, it is an, you can see bauxite, it is an aluminium ore. Aluminium is extracted from the bauxite. So aluminium, as we have just now seen, silver, gold, aluminium, these are extracted first by leaching method. It is concentrated first by leaching method, then the further process is done. Reactive metals, electrolysis molten sodium chloride. This can come explain the electrolysis of molten sodium chloride. Bauxite is 30% to 70% of aluminum oxide and gangue particles are there. So the two steps are involved from the extraction for the extraction of aluminium from the bauxite, that is aluminium ore. Aluminium ore, again I'm telling you, it is a bauxite. So from getting the aluminium from bauxite, we have we have two steps: concentration of bauxite by leaching, and second step is the electrolytic reduction of purified aluminium oxide. And this is also very important method. This can be asked, explain the concentration of bauxite by Bayer's method. In this very simple, the bauxite is added by crusher. It crushes the bauxite into a fine ore, fine powder, and it goes into the digester, then goes into the filter, then precipitator, and then at the end you get aluminium oxide. Then that aluminium oxide, or it is also called as alumina. Okay, so question comes in your exam about electrolytic reduction of aluminium or electrolytic reduction of alumina. Very important question comes in your exam. Explain or draw neat label diagram for electrolytic reduction of alumina. Draw neat and label diagram for electrolytic reduction of alumina. So you have to draw, to practice for this diagram very thoroughly. Practice for 3 times, 4 times, 5 times till you remember. Okay, very important this diagram, and question can ask based on this diagram. Sometimes paragraph will be given and for electrolytic reduction of alumina, and you have to understand that which this paragraph is for electrolytic reduction of alumina, and you have to they can ask you the question based on that. So do practice for this, very important. Effects of corrosion, they can ask you for give reason why the silver, why this silver or the copper metals get rusted or iron get rusted. What are the effects of corrosion, they can ask you. Okay, next some questions I have given you here which comes for 2 marks. They can ask you write down short note on that can come for 2 marks. So here galvanizing, so you have to explain the process of galvanizing. So first step you can see the process. First point, the process of coating a thin layer of zinc on iron or steel is called galvanization. So very simple, study and do the writing practice also for this. This can come for short note, galvanizing, explain galvanizing, or short note on galvanizing. So the process of coating a thin layer of zinc. So we are doing the coating, we are coating the thin layer of zinc on iron or steel is called as the galvanization. Second point, in this method corrosion of zinc occurs first because zinc is more electropositive than iron. Like we are doing the coating thin layer on the iron. So first the zinc will get corroded and then the iron will start rusting. Okay, so for protecting the iron material we are doing the galvanization. Okay, so the process of coating a thin layer of zinc on the iron or steel is called galvanization. In this method corrosion of zinc occurs first because zinc is more electropositive than iron. After a few years zinc layer goes away and the iron layer gets exposed and starts rusting. So your iron material will take time for rusting if it is coated with the zinc. That is called as galvanization. Third point, in galvanization an iron object is dipped into the molten zinc. Melted zinc, that is molten zinc, is taken and the iron object, whatever is your iron object, is dipped into that molten zinc. A thin layer of zinc is formed all over the iron object. For example, shining iron nails, you must have seen iron nails when it is very new, it is showing, it is grayish, gray color. You must have seen iron nails, it is when if you are taking new, it is gray color or silvery color. So because of that zinc layer is coated on that to protect the iron nail from rusting. pins, you see pins are made up from iron, but you see the shining white color shining layer. Iron pipes are also done galvanization on that. Next process, they can ask you write down short note on tinning. So what is tinning? The process of coating a thin layer of tin, molten tin, like we have done for zinc. If it is zinc, that is galvanization. If it is the coating thin layer of tin, it is called as tinning. Okay, molten tin is used on copper or brass. So it is done on the copper or brass is called tinning. Cooking vessels, we are using cooking vessels made of copper and brass get a greenish coating due to corrosion. The greenish substance is copper carbonate and it is poisonous. You must have seen in your home cooking vessels, if it is made up of copper or brass, it gets greenish in color. So to avoid that, tinning is done. The greenish substance is of copper carbonate and it is poisonous. So if buttermilk or curry is placed in such a vessel, it gets spoiled. So therefore, these vessels are coated with tin to prevent corrosion. Okay, that is tinning, means we are coating with a thin layer of tin. Next, electroplating. The process in which a less reactive is coated on a more reactive metal by electrolysis. So you can see the electrolysis process. Cathode rod, anode rod is used. Anode silver plate is used. For cathode, aluminum spoon is used. Okay, and then it is connected with the cell. So this is called as the electrolytic process. So what is done in the electroplating? The process in which the less reactive metals are coated with the more reactive metal by electrolysis. That is called as electroplating. All this we are doing, we are covering with the other metals, one metal with the other metal. So to protect that material to that object. This is all to prevent corrosion. Okay. So for example, for what we do electroplating, silver plated spoon, gold plated jewelry. You must have your parent, mummy or sister must do taking gold plated jewelry. So it is for some years they can use that jewelry. So it is plated. So that is gold plated jewelry. So that is all done by the process of electroplating. Next, fourth one, anodizing. This sometimes diagram will be given, you have to, they will ask you explain the diagram, so you have to understand that the diagram is for, you should know the topic, the name of the diagram. So if you know this is anodizing, so you can explain the anodizing technique is an application of, the anodizing technique is an application of electrolysis. So this is also done by electrolysis. So anodizing technique is an application of electrolysis. In this method, metals like copper and aluminium are coated with a strong film of their oxides by means of electrolysis. So here copper and aluminium are coated with a strong layer of their oxides by means of electrolysis. This thin film protects the metals from corrosion. So all whatever we are doing, anodizing, galvanizing, okay, electroplating, that all we are doing to avoid corrosion. The protection can be further increased by making the oxide layer thicker during the anodization. So they are making a thin film, a thin layer of the covering on copper and aluminum metals, or they can make a oxide of thick layer to protect more from the corrosion. So these are anodizing process. So example is kitchen articles such as anodized pressure cooker. You must be using black color cooker, so it is anodized. And anodized pans, cooking pans nowadays are used. So that is all done, the covering, non-stick cookware and all that what you're using, that is nothing but done by the anodizing process. Okay, so these are all helping from the corrosion. Now next one is alloying. They can ask you write down or explain the process of alloying, or write short note on alloying. You can see it had come in March 2020 paper, last year paper. What is alloying? a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or metal and non-metal in a definite proportion is called an alloy. Means alloy is not a pure metal. Spoon, what you're using at your home, spoon, stainless, it is written sometime on your steel utensil, stainless steel. So stainless steel is not a pure metal, it is a mixture of metals and non-metals. So what is alloying? Alloying is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or metals and non-metals. So it can be a mixture of metals, two or more metals, or it can be a mixture of metal and non-metal. So you have to remember it is a mixture. It can be mixture of two or more metals, or it is a mixture of metals and non-metals. So that is alloying. Okay, that is alloy, not a pure metal. The physical properties of an alloy are different from those of its constituent. For example, if you are taking brass, copper, iron, tin, if you are mixing it, so whatever the new alloy will come, that will not be having a physical property of the earlier metal. It will be a new property, physical property. So the physical property of an alloy are different from those of its constituents. Alloys are corrosion resistance. So it is very useful. Stainless steel you are using at your home. Many utensils now are stainless steel because it is easy to clean. Okay, and it is not corroded very easily. It is not corroded very easily like iron and copper utensils. So nowadays you must have observed at every home you must see the stainless steel utensils are used, spoons, utensils, cooking ware. Okay, so that is nothing but alloying. So alloy is a mixture of metals, two or more metals, or it is a mixture of metals and non-metals in definite proportion. In definite proportion they mix and they make alloy. Alloy are corrosion resistance. Alloy decreases the intensity of corrosion of metals. It is decreasing the corrosion of metals. Example, brass is made from copper and zinc. Remember this. Question comes for 1 marks like correlation or for match the column. Remember this. Brass is made from copper and zinc. Brass is made from copper and zinc. Nine and next thing, 90% copper and 10% tin are used to make an alloy called bronze. So bronze is made up of 90% copper and 10% tin. It is mixed in that to make bronze. And next thing, stainless steel is made from 74% iron, 8% carbon and 18% chromium. Okay, so stainless steel, what you are using at your home, it is not a pure metal. It is a mixture of metals and non-metals. So it is made up of iron, 74% iron, 8% carbon and 18% chromium. So like that, your this alloying is done, and because of the alloying, it is very useful for our daily need. Metal, because metals get corroded very easily, so mixture of metals and non-metals gives you the corrosion resistance quality properties. Okay, thank you so much. I have tried to give you the best what I can give. Okay, there are many questions you can solve from 21 sets are there. Many Navneet books are there. In reading textbook is the best solution. Read textbook carefully first and then start solving any question from anywhere, from digest or from 21 set from Navneet. Okay, thank you so much students. All the best and don't take so much tension. Do your best, do the writing practice, and as it is said by Varsha Gaikwad ma'am, it is going to be happen your exam. Don't worry, relax, do your practice, give your best. Okay, because everybody is facing this pandemic situation, so don't take too much tension. Otherwise, you will lose your health. Okay, lose your presentation. So relax, do your best, do the writing practice more and more. Let them take how they are going to take the exam. Okay, all the best, everybody. Thank you so much.